When we start a new diet, we have a single noble intention to get our health back. But by the second week, the reward for our discipline often isn't energy. It's bloating, gas, a stomach that feels just uncomfortable. It makes no sense. If we're doing what we're supposed to do and we're eating right, why does our body feel terrible? And the answer lies in the substance we're told is a health essential, even though for thousands of years our ancestors used stones and sieves to specifically remove it. When they had to rely on plants for survival, they kept the starch for themselves for that energy that they needed, and they threw the fiber to the livestock. We're going to explore how we were convinced to eat the waste product instead of the food, and why the body's response to fiber is a cry for help rather than a sign of digestion, which we're often tried to be convinced of. As always, we're exploring the biological roadmap for educational purposes to understand our own physiology. This is not medical advice. Please subscribe. There's a universal timeline when we switch from garbage and standard American stupidity to a clean diet. The first few days are fueled by adrenaline and hope, and we're excited for it, and we want to do well. But soon after, the physical reality starts to hit us. So one of the things that I remember is waking up and with those best intentions, having my bowl of oatmeal, because I love oatmeal. I loved it. And for lunch, I might have had a delicious sandwich. Again, love sandwiches. And realizing that by 3 p.m., I was ravenous. I didn't have the energy or the ability to make it to supper. And but I'm on a diet, right? So I would have brought some very healthy, fruit if I was trying to torture myself because I don't like fruit. I probably more likely would have brought granola bars to try to make sure I can make it to supper. Because again, granola bars are healthy. My afternoon, when I was eating my best, was often full of me trying very carefully not to have gas in front of other people. I would have that distended, bloated gassiness that would happen after I ate lunch and that granola bar. And a lot of people report having cramping stomachs. A lot of people report having like a lot of pain in their stomach or bathrooming issues, whether it be diarrhea or constipation. The problem is that all of this is normalized. We are told that when we eat healthy, yeah, sometimes you're going to have a little gas or whatever. Like it's just everybody has it. And so it's a nothing thing. And I want to go back a little bit because this begins in childhood. We are taught as little kids that healthy food is a chore, right? Nobody likes their vegetables. You just eat them and shut up, and you're going to be healthier for it. And that's why we do it. Basically, we're told to ignore our natural aversion to fruits, vegetables, and all this plant matter, nuts, seeds. We're told to ignore that and just eat them. Now, of course, from very young, we are experiencing bloating and gas and irregularity and all the stuff that our adult counterparts are living. And when we become adults and we're talking to people to try to figure out, like, how do you manage all this gas and whatever, society, and I will even go as far as saying the standard health guidelines kind of just say that's how digestion works. And if we push for more answers, we often get a label, right? They'll basically say, well, irritable bowel syndrome or sensitive bowel, and basically the label just describes the symptoms that we've given them, but it doesn't tell us why it's happening. Nothing about the root cause but why are my bowels so sensitive is ever explained to us. And we start to believe that our stomach issues are just a mystery and that there's no origin, right? Like it's my entire family is like this. Have you ever noticed that we will say our entire family has something, but then if you ask other families, There's inevitably somebody in that other family that has the same something. And if you go to like to the north or the south and you ask the same question, there's inevitably some other. So we all have the same family? No, we all are suffering with the same problem because we're all eating the same stuff. And it's not a family, or it's not specific to Violet and her family's history. It's specific to the way that we're eating. This healthy food that we're eating is causing stuff to happen. We need to draw a hard line. And chronic bloating is not a mystery, and it's not normal. It's a biological signal, wellness warrior. It's your body trying to get your attention. It's your body saying, hey, help me. The human body is an efficient machine. It wants fuel it can absorb. If we put fuel in a car, for example, and the car started smoking and stalling and like the car was just not working well, there's no way that we would say, well, that's just the way cars work. We would stop using that fuel because we would see that obviously this is not working well here. But for some reason, when we eat massive amounts of fiber, the livestock food that we are giving to ourselves instead of giving to the livestock, yeah, that stuff, and our digestion stalls, and the standard advice is to eat more fiber, we are just following the directions. We're not stepping back and questioning, wait, what? I'm already eating fiber. Why would I add more? Like, we don't question it. This foolishness, this is the cycle of inflammation that we're going to completely eradicate today. We're going to stop this cycle from happening anymore. We have to stop viewing the bloating as normal and start seeing it as a warning sign from our body that, hey, this isn't working for me. Hey, we need to eat something else, right? And to understand why the stomach hurts, we have to understand what fiber actually is. Like, what is this stuff? Fiber is cellulose. It is the structural backbone of plants. So we have bones, and that's the bones of the plant that helps it to hold up and whatever. So the stalk, the husk, the protective shell, all of that has cellulose in it. By definition, it is indigestible matter for us, right? Humans cannot digest that. It's not a nutrient. A nutrient is something that our body can absorb and uses. We can't absorb fiber. Fiber enters our mouth and exits our body unchanged by us. So, if it doesn't feed us, why did we start obsessing over it? You ever asked that question? Maybe you wouldn't have asked that question because this might even be the first time you're hearing that. But for those of you who have heard this before, why did we start obsessing over it? This modern obsession with roughage, it didn't start because of science. It started because of religion and well, maybe a little bit mental health, I will say. John Harvey Kellogg, so he's like the father of the modern breakfast cereal. He wasn't just selling food. He was selling his religious ideas, his ideology, right? He thought and believed strongly that stimulating foods like meat and savory fats inflamed our passions, right? Like, he didn't want us to be passionate with other people. I hope I'm making that, you're getting what I'm saying. So he believed that to be morally pure, one had to be physically clean inside. And he promoted a bland, high residue diet specifically to dampen our spirits and, clean us out. So today, we are still following a protocol designed to suppress human vitality, not enhance it. We are eating penance food. And for those of you who are not religion, that means we're eating punishment food, right? We are punishing ourselves for having lustful thoughts and actions. Now, Kellogg's motivation for us to do this was to save our souls. So I can kind of forgive him for that because he wanted good for us. But the problem is that this virtuous idea was grabbed up by industry, and it gave them a way to use a product that we shouldn't be using. During the industrial milling of wheat to white flour, factories are left with mountains of bran, right? All this, well, it should be going to the livestock. And I don't even understand why that's not what happens with it. And well, it used to be what happens to it. But the thing is that if you feed it, if you sell it for livestock, it's not going to be as profitable as when they figured out that they could sell it to us. Now, here's the thing. We've always known that this brand stuff that we were taking off, because we were taking it off because it was harsh on the human gut. But the industry saw an opportunity to take this purity idea and get more money for the brand. I mean, are you shaking your head as hard as I'm shaking my head? They took a waste product, which cost them nothing, that they were already selling to feed their livestock, rebranded it as a health essential for regularity so that they could make more money. Like, whoa. They sold us on the idea that we needed this stuff in order to be healthy. And we need to have it. I mean, honestly, like if I gave you a handful of sawdust, you could look at that and realize, okay, yeah, this is shavings of wood. Like it'd be very recognizable to you. If I took that sawdust and I put it in a smoothie, right, with other things like fruits and whatever, just put it in there all together, and I mixed it all together, and now I say to you, okay, now it's healthy because I mixed it all together in that mixture. You be like, look at me like, no. Like if I drink that, it's going to irritate my throat and my stomach, and I'm not going to do well. Here's the thing, Wellness Warrior. Bran, like psyllium husk, and the fibrous stalks and all that stuff, biologically is almost identical to sawdust, cellulose. Yeah, sawdust is actually cellulose. When we eat it, we aren't feeding our gut. We are scratching it. We are harming it.
Even wood and fiber is still made up of glucose, except it's just configured a little differently. So in some cases, we can't break it down.
We've been convinced to eat a packaging material instead of the food that was in the packaging material. And I'm very reluctantly calling that food. But that's what we've been convinced to do. And we've been convinced this because they got us to believe that the resulting irritation is a sign of health, right? All that elimination just means you're healthy, because look how many times you go per day. And this became the primary argument that they used to sell us fiber, right? That it moves things along. We need it to, eliminate. And insoluble fiber acts mechanically, right? So yes, it is moving things along. But why? Like our intestines are sensitive. They're single layers of cells that like protect us internally. When the gut lining detects that something is harming in there, it triggers a defense response, Wellness Warrior. So there will be mucus released to help eject whatever irritant is there as quickly as possible. They sell us this idea that this is healthy regularity, right? That you're eliminating 1-2 times a day. That's healthy regularity. When in fact, what it is it's your body ejecting an intruder. Now, over time, this normalized process is chronic disturbance to your intestines, to your stomach, to like the internals of your body. It's chronic disturbance. And what ends up happening is we have a gut wall that's in a state of low-grade inflammation all the time, which leads to one of the biggest confusions in the modern nutrition world that we have today. We are not only told that we need to eat fiber to help us eliminate, but we're also told that we need fiber to feed our microbiome, which is our, our digestive tract. We believe that the good bacteria eat fiber. Now, this creates this fear in most people walking around that if I don't eat fiber, then I'm going to not be able to feed my microbiome, and then I'm going to be harming myself internally and my ecosystems, and then I'm going to be sick, and all of these things that are absolutely not true. So here's the truth. Our microbiome is not static, right? It's not a pet that has a specific diet and will only eat that diet. That's not how this works. Our microbiome is actually quite opportunistic. It adapts based on whatever we end up eating, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Back in the history of us humans on this planet, we couldn't be for sure that we were going to have apples all the time, because we wouldn't have had apples all the time. Back before we knew how to grow apples, if we saw an apple on a tree, it was there. And if we didn't see an apple on a tree, we didn't have it. And by the way, apples back then were not like the apples we have today. But that's a whole other conversation. Mostly what we were eating were the animals that we would catch and eat. And even that was not for sure. Did I catch a rabbit today? Or did I catch a bull today? Or did I catch a pig today? Or we didn't know what we were going to catch. Whatever we caught, we ate, because that's the world we were living in. So if we shovel in massive amounts of plant matter into our digestive system, we're going to breed colonies of bacteria designed to ferment plant matter.
But in the case of gut conditions, the high inflammation is very often caused by the phytochemicals in all of the grains and all of the fruit juices and fruits and vegetables that people were told are super healthy.
The fermentation process that we are creating in here explains the gas that I was so embarrassed of and trying to hold in, that was causing my stomach to hurt. And the specific bacteria that eat fiber that we can't digest. So again, the reason that we're able to, move it through somewhat digested is not because we digested it. The bacteria digested it. They are not us. And they produce waste. What kind of waste do they produce? Methane and hydrogen. Yes, the gas that we don't like having is being produced because the plants that we eat are feeding bacteria in our gut, uninvited guests basically, who produce methane and hydrogen. And then we walk around embarrassed by all the gas we keep letting out. This is the source of the bloating, Wellness Warrior. We have built a fermentation tank inside our abdomen. I had a fermentation tank inside my abdomen. I was so embarrassed anytime that I needed to eliminate gas, and not realizing that that was happening to me because I was eating the wrong stuff. Okay. When we remove the fiber, we aren't starving our gut. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. We're simply removing the food that feeds these unwanted guests that are living inside of us so that they leave, because that population will go way, way, way down. And when you're eating meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and then you'll have the microbiome related to meat, fish, poultry, eggs. We do not have a fiber deficiency. We never have. We have an overgrowth of fermenting bacteria in our bowels, in our guts, because we keep giving them the fuel they need to live there. And as if making us gassy or causing us to go to the bathroom 17 times a day isn't bad enough. The final slap in the face that this does is that chemically there's a cost to our health in this diet. Plants don't want to be eaten. Dr. Chafee has been screaming about that since I've heard of him. And that's like a long time ago. And in the conversation that I had with him on my channel, I think I'll probably link the video down below. Dr. Chafee talks about the fact that plants don't want to be eaten. And so therefore, because plants don't have teeth or claws, what they do have are chemicals. And basically, if we were a teeny tiny bug, when we would bite into that plant, we would only take one bite. But because we are gigantic humans, it takes so much more of these chemicals to impact us. But the problem is we eat so much more. Their seeds and stalks are full of chemicals known as anti-nutrients. So for example, if I would pick one, phytates, they act like a magnet for essential minerals. So they bind to zinc, iron, calcium, and magnesium in our digestive tract.
Anti-nutrients are chemicals, natural chemicals in plants that are there for their own purposes. But many of them interfere with our ability to utilize nutrients not only from the plant foods that we eat, but from the animal foods that we eat along with those plant foods. Phytic acid is a mineral magnet that interferes with minerals like iron, zinc, calcium, and magnesium.
So what that means is that when we eat high fiber bowl of heart healthy grains and this good stuff, right? It's good stuff. The fiber binds to these minerals and carries them out of the body in our waste. So for example, you end up eating spinach because you want all that calcium, but then the oxalate in the spinach binds to the calcium and it leaves. So you're forcing yourself to eat these vegetables you don't like, and then you're not getting the benefit of having eaten the vegetable that you don't like because the micronutrients that we keep being told are in these foods don't stay with us because the anti-nutrients that are in these foods cause them to leave with our waste. So we could be eating a full meal with meat and vegetables and feeling like we're doing so good for ourselves. But chemically, every time we do that, we are being robbed. The nutrients are leaving. So even the nutrients that were in the meat will be robbed when you go to the washroom. We are actually running the risk of mineral deficiencies, not because we aren't eating enough, but because the healthy food that we eat is blocking the absorption of the minerals we need so desperately. Which brings us to the final and perhaps most ingrained myth that we have here, which is the idea that we need to go to the bathroom once or twice a day to be healthy. And we're taught to measure our health and our children's health by the number of times that we eliminate, the volume of elimination. I want us to look at this a little bit more clearly. I just want us to just pay attention to how this doesn't make any sense. Because if we are thinking about efficiency, because the human body is incredibly efficient, and let's compare it to something else that can be efficient, a high performance engine. Those things produce very little exhaust, right? Because they burn fuel cleanly. High performance engines. Sure, we have all the other kind of engines that don't, but the high performance ones, really clean. If our body is producing massive amounts of waste daily, it's proving one specific thing, Lone Sawyer. We are eating massive amounts of matter that the body cannot use. So when we switch to a low residue, nutrient dense diet like animal protein and fat, the body actually absorbs most of the material. Like we eliminate much less. There is very little trash left over because our body was able to use what we took in. Going to the bathroom less frequently, for clarity, is not constipation. Constipation is actually when there is some matter that needs to exit you, but you can't get it out. When there's no matter to exit you, that just means it's not time to go yet. And if our body is that efficient, that if you eat real food, meat, fish, poultry, eggs, salt, if you eat real food, your body will be able to put more time between bowel movements because it's just using so much of the amazing food you've given it. True digestive health is not about activity, movement, churning, whatever you want to call this elimination process. That's not what it's about. True digestive health is silence. A healthy gut should not be felt. It shouldn't grumble, bloat, or cramp. When we stop treating our gut like a waste processing plant for industrial byproducts and the fermentation stops, the gas stops, the bloating stops, when that all happens, we can stop forcing the roughage and let the system rest. And letting the system rest is super important, because when you let the system rest, internal repair can happen, your body can heal you, your skin gets better, like all the things that get better when we let the system rest. Now, once we realize that plants and fiber are causing the pain, and the natural instinct is going to be to rush to the store and look for anything that says low carb or keto, because we're not going to eat that high carb stuff anymore, but we need to be careful. The industry knows that you're going to be looking for alternatives. It knows that you're going to stop buying the real garbage junk food and you're going to look for something else. And they have a new trap for you. They have replaced the fiber with different kinds of synthetic fillers and chemical experiments that can be just as damaging to your body as fiber. What you need is to know how to spot fake health food before you buy it. So I want you to click on this video right now, here, this one here, so you don't end up trading one stomachache for another. I'll meet you in that video.